Okay, just a short way from my hostel, and at this intersection is this small church, which I think is, it's not that, it may be St. Demetrios. They all kind of look the same, so I'll see if I can get some better access than this. It appears that they're reworking the courtyard. I think all the stone is from there. This looks like access. 7:30 in the morning. If I can't get pictures, I'm not going to bother going in unless it's one of the big, really spectacular churches. Simply because they want to sell postcards. And you can't really understand, unless you're very knowledgeable, the icons that you see in there. Here are the graves of probably the prior clerics. Sadly, they've, for some reason, cut down that huge tree. Perhaps they had to. May they rest in peace. It's interesting to think that there was a time when this church in this small community was so important that these people lived out their lives. I doubt there's a cleric here. There may be. Look at how they removed 3 or 4 of the big trees. How sad. Quite possibly they're going to build something in here. I can only imagine it at one time that was filled with lovely frescoes. Perhaps an icon of some sort in the sense of a cross or whatever. I wonder if these men would have had some inkling or input into either the stone that would rest for some plausible human eternity on top of them, or for the design of their headstones. Here's a quite different headstone that's kind of pretty, really. Perhaps it had more embellishment on. You can see there's some kind of engraving on at least lines down in the lower right there, or middle rather. Not to be too macabre, but my guess is that much of these prior clerics has disappeared in that tree, which probably soaked up much of their nutrient. You can see that a good part of this church already has been ensconced, if you will, enclosed partially by this newer building anyway. So here's another sign for this church Bolnicki. I'm guessing that inside these walls remains the remains of these beautiful churches. So behind these walls and with these beautiful trees is perhaps this church. Now this one's different because of that portion there. That's the only thing that distinguishes it from a house. Kind of a bell arch, if you will, or bell tower. Again, the outsides of the churches are pretty boring in a sense that they're all made of the same material and use the same basic construction. You see this sign for Bolnicki points to the left. The one we just looked at points back towards us. In other words, going the opposite direction. Here we get a little view behind the church, but it's probably someone else's property. So these appear to be the 2 Bolnicki churches. I may come back and visit them. It's kind of cute on this first church that we looked at, the flowers growing there. And there is a little bit of imaginative detail in the stonework, if you will, right underneath the eaves. I'll wander around a little farther in the hopes that I can find that St. Demetrios. An interesting doorway design. It's a double doors. In other words, 2 sets, exterior door, interior door. It's just a hotel, but interesting. I do want to come back and look at this. It may just be a commercial ploy, but appears to have a little bit more authenticity than that. This looks to be something important, but doesn't say anything in English, so I doubt it's for tourists. A little bit interesting detail in the threshold of that doorway, though. It's a very distinct difference in personality between Albania, anywhere, and at least Ohrid, Macedonia. The people are sober, somber, and will not respond to you unless you directly say something to them. Only the young will seem to reflect some kind of natural camaraderie. This some sort of lapidarium, I think that word may mean paraphernalia. I've seen something similar to it, and it may refer to exactly what we're looking at. Is all of this old stone working, hopefully from here, and maybe also that wood. So this may be a resource for those who want to add some apparent authenticity to their buildings, their homes, or whatever. The styles here, just to sum up what I think I've learned so far, are less interesting and less modern, I think, and less consistently so than is Tirana, for example. And the women are much prettier in Tirana, both as to bodies and faces. But in a word, a far less friendly country so far. It may be that because this is a tourist town, there's a profound amount of cynicism, but every city, all three of the cities I visited, 4 cities that I visited in Albania were tourist places. And even those that were not reacted the same way, friendly. It very much reminds me of Poland, but I hope I can keep an open mind and not let that color the rest of my trip here in Macedonia. Here's another perspective of the building I looked at yesterday from down below. Okay, I'm going to work my way to the right towards the wharf further to find that lower gate, and then I'll work my way north on the map, northwest, to pick up those places I missed yesterday afternoon. The street I've been walking along is Karsamoli. The stones appear to be what may have been original worked stones when they had the time and cared to do so. That's these ones that have diagonal hash marks on them. Whether anything else is original, I don't know. They're well worn, so probably many of these are. And this section has a real proliferation of those stones that look very old because they're so worn. Certainly the hash marks would appear to give traction. That makes me think they were the older kind. And subject to patching, as you can see, for any number of reasons, probably doing that sewers. It's very much a tourist place, equal to or greater so than Jackson is. Signage is pretty good, at least from the main areas. It appears I need to go right back where I was, right above that street where those 2 churches are. Bolnicki is where the lower gate's supposed to be. So here I am at the churches. All I can do is go up here and start trying to find it. First information off a little area. All new, of course.